Presented by Listen Headlines, latest world news from trusted sources. Updating daily at 6 a.m. New York.
Washington Post World.
June 8, 5:16 America New York, report. Iran turns off 2 of UN nuclear watchdog's cameras. Iran turned off 2 surveillance cameras of the United Nations nuclear watchdog that monitored one of its atomic sites, state television reported Wednesday. Fox World News.
June 8, 5:04 America New York, Iran train derailment. At least 17 people killed, 50 others injured. A passenger train in eastern Iran partially derailed on Wednesday, leaving at least 17 people dead and injuring another 50, according to authorities.
New York Times World News. June 8, 5 o'clock America New York, U.S. lacks a clear picture of Ukraine's war strategy, officials say. Intelligence agencies know far more about Russia's military, even as the United States ships billions of dollars in weapons to the Ukrainians. The gaps in information on the state of Ukraine's military forces and the government's strategy in the Donbass have created blind spots for the United States. New York Times World News.
June 8, 5 o'clock America New York, Sewol ferry disaster in South Korea leaves unhealed wounds. 8 years after the Sewol ferry disaster took the lives of 250 South Korean students, parents say they are still struggling to come to terms with the lessons the tragedy brought to bear. Kim Miok, the mother of Lee Ho-jin, a Sewol ferry victim, reading messages from his friends in his bedroom in Ansan, South Korea.
World News. Breaking international news and headlines, Sky News.
June 8, 4:56 America New York, about 30 injured after vehicle drives into crowd in Berlin. A vehicle has driven into a crowd in western Berlin, injuring about 30 people, according to emergency services. Social media pictures from the scene after a car drove into a crowd in Rankstrasse near the main shopping district and Amp. Number 39. S. Breitscheidplatz, Berlin, Germany. Mirror World News.
June 8, 4:55 America New York, Berlin car crash, 30 injured as vehicle smashes into crowd at department store. The vehicle has crashed into a group of people outside a department store with 1 dead and at least 30 injured in Rankstrasse in Charlottenburg, Berlin, Germany.
Washington Post World.
June 8, 4:53 America New York, 107 students, teachers airlifted to safety in Austrian Alps. Authorities in Austria say 107 students and teachers on a school trip from Germany had to be airlifted to safety after they followed an online map that directed them onto an unmarked and difficult trail.
Wall Street Journal World News.
June 8, 4:31 America New York, Russia, Turkey hold talks on safe passage for Ukraine's grain. A significant portion of the world's food supply is on the line in the United Nations-backed effort, though Ukraine hasn't consented to a potential deal.
Washington Post World.
June 8, 4:30 America New York, she was raped in Ukraine. How many others have stories like hers? Investigators are struggling to assess the prevalence of sexual violence. BBC News World.
June 8, 4:22 America New York, Joe Ferrari, ex-Thai police chief convicted of suspect killing. Video footage had caught him and colleagues wrapping plastic bags around the head of a drug suspect. World News. Breaking international news and headlines, Sky News. June 8, 4:03 America New York, cancer disappears in every single patient in small drug trial. Every patient in a small clinical trial saw their cancer disappear after receiving an experimental immunotherapy treatment, according to researchers. Some of the patients in the trial.
BBC News World.
June 8, 3:58 America New York, train derailment in eastern Iran kills at least 17. Dozens more people were injured after the train collides with an excavator, emergency officials say.
Mirror World News.
June 8, 3:55 America New York, wife of Brit who vanished in Amazon in desperate plea saying, every second counts. Veteran Brit journalist Dom Phillips went missing while carrying out research for a book in Brazil's remote Javari Valley jungle, a lawless and vast region where indigenous tribes, narco gangs, illegal hunters and fishermen operate.
Fox World News.
June 8, 3:16 America New York, viral video shows orangutan grab visitor through zoo cage, refuse to let go. The zoo manager where a viral video was recorded of an orangutan grabbing and pulling on a man claims the individual crossed security barriers in an attempt to get a video of the ape.
New York Times World News.
June 8, 311 America New York, live updates. Ukraine faces tough choices after losses in East. President Volodymyr Zelensky insisted there was a compelling reason to stay and fight in Severodonetsk despite Russian forces closing in on his military. A volunteer with a mobile hospital group resting at the outfit's headquarters on Tuesday in Sloviansk, in eastern Ukraine.
Fox World News.
June 8, 2:05 America New York, Turkey's Islamist leader using NATO to get free hand and punish U.S. allies. Erdogan won't support Sweden and Finland's desire to join NATO. NATO can't move forward with new admissions without the consent of all 30 members.
RT World News.
June 8, 1:21 America New York, top U.S. general accused of corrupt lobbying. A retired four-star general lied to officials while lobbying on behalf of Qatar, the FBI said in a leaked filing.
BBC News World.
June 8, 0:57 America New York. North Korea could carry out nuclear tests anytime, warns U.S. official. His comments come as Pyongyang tested 8 missiles on Sunday, the highest daily record so far.
Mirror World News.
June 8, 0:21 America New York, Iran train crash. Many feared dead and dozens injured after passenger train derails. We'll be bringing you the very latest updates, pictures and video on this breaking news story.
RT World News.
June 7, 23:59 America New York, Merkel defends Ukraine stance. Germany's ex-chancellor claimed her policies bought time for Ukraine to prepare for conflict with Russia.